Hello guys and welcome. In today's video we are going to discuss about gin introduction, definition, different types, and what are the different terminology we find on the bottle of gin. So let's get started. First off, definition. So gin is a distilled alcoholic beverage which is flavored with juniper berry. So juniper berry is very important ingredient here. Without this it cannot be called a gin. So it has to have a distilled alcoholic beverage which can be a neutral spirit or any spirit, plus juniper berry and other botanicals will make the gin. So, do you think this statement is true? Vodka plus juniper berry is equal to gin. Yes, that is absolutely correct. So, vodka is a neutral spirit. If you add juniper berry into it, it will become a gin. But if you add other botanicals, it will not be called a gin unless it has a juniper berry. It will be called a flavored vodka. So it can have orange flavor or lemon flavor or any other flavor, botanical flavor, but that cannot be called a gin. So in order to a beverage to be called a gin, it need to have juniper berry. That is the essential flavoring element in gin. अभी देख लेते हैं कौन कौन से botanicals हैं. There are hundreds of botanicals used by different gin producers around the world. They make their own composition of these botanicals. So primary botanical is juniper berry, as we stated earlier also. Other than this, the primary flavoring agent in gin are coriander seed, angelica root, here is lemon peel, orange peel, cinnamon, almond, cardamom, ginger, nutmeg, licorice, etc. So these are the main flavoring agent in gin, the botanicals. Little bit about the history. So it was originally used as a medicinal liquor. So for the medicine, it is used as a medicinal purpose for the ailment of kidney and stomach problems. So this was the reason why it was invented, and it was invented in Netherlands. It is originated from Netherlands and it got popularity in UK after the introduction of Juniper. Juniper is a type of basic gin, the old style gin, traditional gin, which was made earlier by pot still method, that we will discuss in the next slides. Gin is a national drink of England South. So south part of England, it is the national drink. It has got so much popularity in England. Juniper is a Dutch word which means juniper. So juniper नाम का मतलब ही juniper है. So it came from this juniper berry, the primary flavoring agent of gin. Gin can be divided into three basic styles. Now different type of gin based on production method, how it is produced, we can classify in three different methods, and then later on we will discuss other style of gin, like you heard about Plymouth gin, Old Town gin, what is sloe gin, all these different type of gins we will look into it. First of all, pot still, patent still, and compound gin. So gin which are made by pot still method, patent still method, and compound gin. Pot still and patent still both are distillation method. If you have not seen the video, you can go and watch pot still and patent still videos later on after this video to understand what exactly happens in this pot still and patent still method. Then you will come to know the difference of the spirits, how they produce. Pot still method produce a spirit which has more of the flavor of the base material, so the grains which we have used, it will get more. And pot still also need to be matured in wooden casks, so that we will discuss here the production of gin. Pot still gin, the fermented mash of barley or other grain is distilled in big copper pots. So these pots are made of copper, and it is an old method and produce low strength alcohol in first distillation. Pot still is a old method and patent still is the advancement and the new method after the pot still method. So this method makes a low alcohol, so it need to be redistilled. So only by doing one distillation is not enough, so it need to be redistilled. So it, when they do the real distillation, दोबारा से जब distillation करेंगे, so they will add botanicals into it to extract the aroma, and in this distillation all the aroma will be going into the gin. This type of gin is often aged in wooden cask. As I stated earlier, that this type of gin, this type of alcohol which is made in pot still method will have a harsh flavor because of the congeners impurities by making this pot still. So pot still से बना हुआ कोई भी spirit that need to be aged in cask, wooden cask, to mellow it down to soft this alcohol. So this need to be aged in wooden cask. Let's see what is next. It is relatively heavier bodier drink with the malt flavor. So both of these are the quality of pot still beverage, that it will have heavy body and it will have malt flavor. So whatever grain you have used, the base material, that flavor it will carry. Pot still gin. These are the pot which are used for distillation of this type of gin. So these are the copper pots. Next we move to, okay, before that we see the brands of the gin which are made by pot still method. So Bowles and the Kuiper, these are the most famous gin brands for pot still, and the Borgen. These are the brands of this pot still gin. Now patent still. Patent still is a distillation continuous still method. So after the invention of patent still, it is first distilled using patent still from a fermented mash of grain, sugar beet, grapes, sugar cane or other sugar source. So here you can see the base material of gin can be anything. It can be any grain, barley or rye, wheat or anything. Sugar beet, which is famous in US, and grapes, even sugar cane or any other sugar source, can any fruit which has sugar. So from anything we can make the distilled neutral spirit. Then with the neutral spirit adding juniper, you can make gin. Because patent still method makes a very neutral kind of spirit which will not have any flavor of the raw material. So you will not spot the difference between the spirit which is made from sugar cane or it is made from sugar beet or it is made from grain. So it will basically taste neutral like vodka. Next, the highly concentrated spirit is redistilled with botanicals in pot still method. Highly concentrated means it has got higher proof, high alcohol. Okay, the spirit which are made by patent still, it will be higher proof. So about 95 to 96% of alcohol, then it will be reduced by adding distillation water, and it will be redistilled with botanicals. So again they will put in pot. So they will again use pot. So first they will do distillation by patent distill, then again they will put in pot these botanicals here, and they will start boiling these things, and with the alcohol, the aroma of the botanicals will also collect in the final product. So this kind of gin will be called patent distilled method, and later on botanicals are used by adding these botanicals into the spirit in the pot. Next, in some of the cases the botanicals are suspended in gin basket which is placed in the head of the still. In some cases, if you want a very low flavor of the botanicals, very light flavor gin you are making, then you can add a gin basket. So rather than putting your botanicals directly into the spirit here, you will add a basket over here. So we can draw here so it is more visible. You can put a basket over here, and in this basket you can add all the botanicals here. So when the steam, when the alcohol vapors will pass through this botanicals, it will take the flavor in the final product. So this is the method of using this gin basket. So this is the gin basket. It has got holes here, and you can add the botanicals from here, removing this. So when the steam, the vapors are coming, it will take the flavors of this into the gin. So by this method the gin which we make will be low flavor. Gin basket allow hot alcoholic vapor to pass from these botanicals and extract the flavors of these botanicals in the spirit. This we have discussed. This type of gin is light in flavor and body. As we have discussed, pot still method gin will be more heavy flavored, has the flavor of raw material, but this type of patent still gin will have very light flavor, very light flavor of botanicals as well. A very famous terminology for this kind of gin is London dry gin. So you will often see on the brands, and this is very famous. It will You will find on almost every bar one of these gins, like Gordon or Tanqueray or Beefeater or Bombay Sapphire. These all are the London dry gin and made by the patent still method. So here you can see this terminology, London dry gin. All these are London dry gin. So London dry gin means it is patent still method and there is no added flavor or aroma into it, and sugar, anything. So that is the patent still. Third method of production of gin is compounding, just simply adding the flavor into the gin. And there are two methods in this compound gin. One is the maceration or infusion, where you will just add the botanicals into the spirit at room temperature and let it sit for some time, and the flavor will dissolve into the spirit. That's it. You just soak it in the spirit. So that is the maceration or infusion. And second is the cold compound, where you are adding only essence. There is no botanicals, there is no any real botanicals in it. There is only the essence, the chemicals using in this. So this kind of cold compound is these gins are very cheap. Okay, these are not of good quality, these are the low graded gins, because there is no real botanicals are added into it, and there is a essence and chemicals have been used to replicate the flavor of gin. So these are the three different kind of gin. Other type of gin we discuss here, London dry gin. As I discussed earlier, London dry gin is most famous style of gin. सबसे ज़्यादा फेमस स्टाइल जिन है, बनती है पेटेंट डिस्टिल मेथड से, लाइट बॉडीड है, लाइट अरोमा है, बोटानिकल्स विच मेक इट सुटेबल टू बी यूज इन मैनी कॉकटेल्स. दैट इज वाई इट इज यूज इन कॉकटेल्स, बिकॉज it does not alter the flavor of the cocktail. There are no artificial flavor or sweetener added, not allowed. Sweeteners, flavors not allowed. So London dry gin. Example of London dry gin: Beefeater, Bombay Sapphire. Next, Juniper. Juniper is a type of gin which is very old, and it is produced in the Netherlands. Okay, it is the forefather of modern gin. It is traditional drink of the Netherlands. Liquor can only be produced in Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, and France. So only these four places are allowed to make this type of gin: Belgium, Netherlands, and Germany and France. So if they are making, they can write Juniper on their gin. Otherwise, no other place can use this name on their gin. So it is a particular style. So there is some expectation from the consumer that Juniper how it is going to be. So legally, this name can be used by only these countries. So that is the GI, like geographical indication. Now, something more about Juniper. Juniper was originally produced by distilling malt wine, that is moutwijn in Dutch, to 50% ABV, because the resulting spirit was not palatable due to lack of refined distilling techniques. Only the pot still was available. So herbs were added to mask the flavor. So now we come to know that initially जो herbs हमने ऐड करी हैं इसके अंदर, वो herbs ऐड हुई थी फ्लेवर्स को मास्क करने के लिए, बिकॉज इट वॉज सो हार्श. एट दैट टाइम देर वॉज नो good distillation technique was available, and spirits were very harsh, so they were not able to drink that spirit. So they added some different type of botanicals into it to mask the flavor, so they will get a fair better taste. So they added some botanicals, and later on it became a style of a gin. Some brands, Bowls, Genever, and the Kuiper are the famous brands of this type of gin. Next style of gin is Old Tom. Many producers are making now. Popular in 18th century England. In 18th century, it was England. In England, it was very famous, and lightly sweeter than London dry gin, but slightly drier than Dutch Juniper. The name Old Tom is associated with the wooden plaque. Wooden plaque. This is a plaque. This this type of wooden, like a nameplate, shaped like a black cat, mounted outside the pubs near public walkways, which was an indicator of booze. So why it happened at that time in England? There was a curb on alcohol sale, so no legally they were allowed to openly sell the alcohol. So from the government, so what they did, they hang this kind of plaques outside their bar, and they just remain closed. And this was the indicator that you will get drinks here. So what they used to do, they used to place money from somewhere here, or and they used to get the drinks from here. So just outside they will take this type of pot, and they will collect the drink, and they will pay the money over here. So this was a big indicator that you will get a drink. So that was a gin, and that particular style has become famous as Old Tom gin. Now these are the famous brands which we are making this type of brand, this type of style of gin. Some of the brands are Tanqueray, Hemans, Langley's. Next is Plymouth. Plymouth is a type of gin. It is unique style of gin and brand name also. Basically, Plymouth is an area in England, and it can be produced only in that area. Okay, so here is the Plymouth here, Plymouth area in England, South. So this is the only area which is allowed to produce Plymouth gin. So England, which had GI certified with EU, so European Union के साथ में they had certified the geographical indication. GI is geographical indication, that their geographical indication is the Plymouth. So Plymouth name on the gin label cannot be used anywhere in the world. It is only allowed in Plymouth if it is made in Plymouth. A higher proportion of root ingredients and other botanicals used in Plymouth recipe, which gives more earth feel, soft juniper and noticeable citrus notes, which makes it feel more dry than London dry gin. So it is even more drier than London dry gin. So it is a particular style. You will get some root flavor, some citrus notes, and it is very dry kind of style. So if you are seeing Plymouth, then you must understand that it came from the Plymouth area of England, and it is very dry. It has got root flavors, light botanicals, citrus notes, and more dry than London dry gin. Plymouth makes original strength, which is 41.2, and navy strength 57%. Two style of Plymouth gin they make. One is 41.2 and 57%. It was the traditional strength demanded by British Royal Navy to be introduced in Plymouth gin commissioning kit. So British Royal Navy demanded this type of high proof gin to be given as a commissioning kit, as a welcome kit to their navy officers. So they especially made this type of gin for them. So manufacturer are Pernod Ricard, and alcohol percentage are two different alcohol percentage: 41.2, which is regular Plymouth, and Plymouth Navy strength, which is 57% ABV. Also here we can see a monk with a glass in his hand. So when the gin level goes down the glass, then it is assumed that the monk is thirsty. So that need to be replaced. That is a story about the Plymouth gin. Next is the Sloe gin, a very bright red color gin. So how this color has come into this gin? It is a style of gin which is fruit based gin. So there is a fruit, a berry, which is called sloe berry. It is not juniper. See, it looks like juniper, but it is not juniper. It is sloe berry. So we soak this sloe berry into the gin simply, and it gets the color, some fruit flavors, some sweetness into the gin, and that makes this sloe gin. It has a reddish color and sweet fruity flavors. It is basically a gin based liqueur, but in earlier days, European Union classified it as a spirit, and hence it is called a spirit. Basically, if we see that it has got all the characteristics of a liqueur, it has fruit flavor, it has color, it has some sweetness as well. So it is basically a liqueur. But earlier days, even before liqueur were classified, it was classified as a spirit. So since then it is known as a spirit. So Plymouth is a type of gin which has sloe berry flavor into it. This gin has some sweetness due to being soaked with fruit. So that's all about the gin, and these are the topics which we have discussed. Gin definition and types of gin. There are on the basis of method of making, pot, patent and compound we have discussed, and other type of gin we have discussed, that is London dry gin, Juniper, Plymouth, Old Tom and Sloe gin. I hope you understand gin definition, methods of making, and different style of gin, and different terminology which you can find on the gin labels. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening.